Hello everyone, it's another Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Obiajulu Ubu, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing
I like
amazing.
the purple thingy.
Thank
It's a new
you.
top, I've not seen this top before. It's really, really...
How am I supposed to announce a set?
Oh,
There's
sorry.
a new top.
No,
There's a new top.
Okay, because I'm seeing it for the first time.
This top before.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just taking it one day at a time, doing my meditations, doing my affirmations.
Nice.
There's a lot that's happening in my space right now. And I'm just trusting God. And I know that this too shall pass.
Amen. Oh, okay. How you doing, Nima?
I'm fine. I'm grateful to God for life. Just grateful. We're dealing with a lot of tankers.
Yes, you feel cold. You're looking really cold. Yes,
No, the tankers, there's likely to be a fuel scarcity. So the tank farms, our roads have been completely taken over. I couldn't get home yesterday till I had to park my car for someone else to bring it home, and they didn't get home till almost 10 o'clock yesterday with my car in that traffic. So I don't know how to get home today. The roads are completely taken over by tankers, and because of the construction, it's only one lane for everybody coming from Badagry inwards Maltu. So I hope that miracles happen, because without miracle, it has defied every human solution, or else you'd see some way to be managed, but then it's not.
Come to you. We're running out of time. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm doing amazing. I've been away because I haven't been feeling too well. But I'm happy to be back. But also on Saturday, there's the Akada Children's Book Festival. So I'll be there. I'll be doing a book reading. There'll be my stall. I'll be signing books when you come and buy. But it's also a huge fun event for the kids. They'll get to meet different authors, illustrators, and then there are other fun activities. So please bring your children so that they can have wholesome fun. Thank you.
Nice. I like that. Wholesome fun. Not just playing, but wholesome fun. Nice. So today is Mr. Brown's birthday.
Yeah.
He's a year older today. So I wish him all the best, and pray that God's blessings will continue to be
I beg
with
you,
him.
do that thing. What is wrong with you?
Today is my husband's Femi. My husband's birthday.
Put the flowers inside.
What's the flower there?
Put the
This is Mr.
flowers
Brown's
inside.
birthday.
Happy
And happy birthday to
birthday.
him.
Happy birthday, Mr.
God bless
Brown.
you. And love you very much.
Hey,
Let's go and
Come
have
and
a
chicken.
We can do
Sit down,
now.
Jerry. We'll be right back. We're running out of time. Stay with us.
I work for you. Hi.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with the nation. 2023, Wike rejects Atiku. IPOB leader Kanu is a threat to national security, federal government tells court. APC tackles PDP chieftain over remarks on Tinubu's action plan. EFCC secures final forfeiture of Madukwe's Abuja properties. Flooding. Lagos puts Ikoyi, Lekki VI residents on the alert. Federal government tackles UAE over visa ban, and UBS gross earnings hit 608 billion naira in Q3. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, I'll start with Lagos State has yesterday issued a fresh update to all waterfront residents in Ikoyi, Lekki, Victoria Island, as well as the coastal areas of Ekpe and Badagry. And it's saying that they need to be cautious because of the backflow that will be coming from the high tide of in the Lagos Lagoon. The Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Mr. Tunji Bello, had explained that this has become necessary because the high tide of the lagoon has made it difficult for all the rain and storm runoff to drain away. So a lot of them will be stagnated on our major roads and everywhere until the tide on the lagoon recedes and then water can flow. But of course, the usual, we should also be mindful of, filling up our drainages with refuse.
Very important.
Says the Lagos State government is doing a lot has embarked on massive drainage clearing and construction of new channels as well. Then in Benue State, we have the story of Senator Remi Tinubu. She went to visit the Benue State governor She made a 10 million naira donation towards the flood victims. She also made food and other donations of food and other materials. She was received by the wife of the governor and other dignitaries. And, you know, the governor assured her that they will make sure that these materials are used for exactly what they were brought for.
Okay, so federal government tackles the UAE over the visa ban. So according to the CBN governor, it says that he expressed displeasure over the UAE's visa ban on Nigerians, and also they are stopping the Emirates airline from flying into the country, saying that this is a huge market for them and it is not necessary that they should, you know, deal with little disagreements. It was sort of implying that what led to the visa ban and all other things is not as we thought, but it was about the unrepatriated airline funds to the UAE, to the Emirates airline and all of those other issues that they're having, saying that it was little disagreement. And the Speaker of the House, this CBN governor, the Minister for Aviation, all implied that, you know, these trap funds were grounds for this, but, you know, were reasons for that, because the Minister for Aviation was saying it was not strong grounds for them to start to threaten the country like that. And I consider it finished. Only the DG of the Nigerian National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies consider it a sea finish. You know, he went emphatically and said, before we are banned, Nigerians should themselves also stop going. Because, you know, the real estate business in Dubai is not, you cannot belittle Nigerians. They're one of the strongest investors in that area. And that so Nigerians themselves should have dignity in themselves and stop going to Dubai themselves.
Okay, so the federal government yesterday described IPOB's leader, Nnamdi Kanu, as a threat to national security and a flight risk person. He said that if Kanu is released, as directed by the court on October 13, he could flee the country before the determination of his appeal at the Supreme Court. He went ahead to say that so far he has shown that he's at flight risk and he will likely endanger the people of the Southeast. He's more of a security threat. And when it comes to insecurity, it's, you know, more valued compared to human rights. But his lawyer, Mike Uzekome, is countering the application, saying that it amounted to attempt contempt of court and that the government had complied with the October 13 judgment. It has no valid appeal at the moment in front of the apex court, and so he should be released, that his human rights are being, you know, trampled on. And also that when they announced that he was going to be released, there was so much peace in the Southeast. So he's not going to, you know, endanger the Southeast. Actually, it will even calm the tension down. I don't know why the court has given that he should be released. Pending when the appeal court is heard, I think he should be granted his fundamental human rights.
Because they have a right to appeal, so that's what we want to know going on. Okay, so Governor Wike has once again reiterated his vow not to campaign for the flag bearer of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar. He specifically said that it's clear they don't need him for the campaign, therefore they don't need the Rivers people. He was saying this during the inauguration of the Rivers State Campaign Council for candidates within the PDP, who obviously will be running for office next year. So I have seen how people will disrespect a state. I've never seen how people will disrespect a state like Rivers and go and choose those who are enemies of the state without contribution from us. So let's campaign for those who actually respect us, the governorship candidate, senatorial candidates, and all that. So according to him, he will campaign for the others within the PDP, but he will definitely not campaign for Atiku Abubakar. And he's holding his ground on that. Moving on quickly now to the Punch. U.S. terror alert, Atiku Tinubu Obi demand security beef up, reject campaign suspension. Contraband-seeking soldiers kill Ogun businessman, mob lynches officer. The Ezani forfeits Abuja mansions, luxury cars to federal government. Over 10,000 Nigerian doctors practicing in the UK, NMA laments. Tanker explosion grounds Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, 2 dead. ASU, FG to modify IPPIS in 3 months. External debt rises to $40 billion under Buhari. Floods, Buhari demands action plan, Bayelsa gets donations. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, human interest.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to go?
No, you go.
Okay, so 2 persons were among 3 occupants of a diesel-laden tanker that fell on the long bridge along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway yesterday died. According to this report, the tanker rammed into the barricade on the road and fell over. The contents spilling, but the head of the tanker falling over the other side, and it immediately went into flames. And 2 of the occupants died. They did not confirm the state of health of the survivor of that, the 3rd person. But the issue was quickly handled by security and safety officials. The content that spilled was quickly controlled, but that caused a bit of traffic yesterday and has been put under controlled now, according to the police public relations officer of Ogun State, Abimbola Oyeyemi.
Yeah. Picture story. So the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday ordered the final forfeiture of 2 Abuja properties and 2 luxury cars belonging to former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Didiani Alice Madueke. So the properties were mentioned. They are 2 highbrow properties. They said one is in Asokoro and the other in Maitama. They were valued at one over $2 million, and the other one is 380 million, and a couple of luxury cars, so black BMW and a Jaguar, and you know, their value out there. But there's a process. So EFCC, the report shows that there was a process. First of course, the court had asked that EFCC put in the dailies that these properties were up for forfeiture, and if anybody had anything against the forfeiture of these items, they should come forward. And since April 6th, when this was done, no one came forward, and so finally it's gone for final forfeiture.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Okay, we have a story in Punch.
Yes, so soldiers who came in from Badagry to Owode Idiroko in Ogun State allegedly shot a resident dead. So what happened was that they came and they were looking for contraband. So they went into Owode market. They were opening shops, cutting away with bags of rice. And one of the owners of the shop was trying to appeal to them to take it easy, trying to understand what was happening. Said the residents were even bothered the fact that it was soldiers who came to, you know, take these rice, or searching for contraband instead of customs. They were used to customs coming from time to time, but then they were soldiers. And then he was appealing to them. They ignored him. They were cutting away with the bags of rice. But his younger brother decided to try to stop them, you know, and they shot him in the head on their way out. So residents of the area were very upset. They just caught on a naval officer who was on his own, had no business with what happened, and lynched him to death.
Oh, my Lord.
You know, so the police has waded into the matter. They said investigations are ongoing. They are going to, you know, find the people who killed the naval officers. They are going to find the soldiers who killed this young, innocent 30-year-old man. And
oh, man.
Just
goodness, this is really sad. Sorry.
You self-help thing.
I was going to take the story of, that story just threw me off. So the US and the UK missions had sent a terror alert warning their citizens in this country of possible terror attacks, especially in the FCT. So many of us read that message from both US and UK. And on the backdrop of that, many of the spokespersons of all the major political parties running for office are saying that they are requesting that government beefs up their security, saying they're not going to cancel their rallies, that they're not going to stop the plan for all their various rallies across the country, but they're asking that government will beef up security for them. The defense headquarters said that they're on top of the situation, that they are sure that there are no reason to be afraid, that they are on top of it. And we just hope that nothing really bad happens, as 2 countries have won their citizens. Moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Biafra, why we won't release Kanu, FG tells appeal court. Rivers PDP won't campaign for you, Wike tells Atiku. Nigeria will break up if APC wins, says Obaseki. Flood, Buhari gives minister 90 days ultimatum to produce preventive plan. Over 10,000 doctors left Nigeria for UK in the last 7 years, says NMA. Rishi Sunak emerges British Prime Minister, warns of economic challenges. Panic as petrol shortage emerges in Lagos. How we prevented flights, says Emefiele. My plan to fix flooding if elected president, says Peter Obi. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, the Kaduna State chapter of Nigerian Medical Association, while celebrating the what they call it's 2022 Physicians Week, talked about the brain drain happening in the health sector, and it says that Nigerian doctors have been rendered unimportant by successive governments for inadequate attention to the health sector, and they're blaming the government for the exodus of Nigerian doctors to different countries. They also shared some statistics. They said in January 1st, 2022 and September 30, 2022, about 1,307 doctors trained in Nigeria were licensed in the UK. And overall, 10,296 doctors who obtained their degrees in Nigeria currently practice in the UK. This is, a scary phenomenon, of course, and we hope that the government would, play its role in making sure that everything that is needed, proper facilities, well-trained doctors, pay them proper welfare for our doctors and things like that, things that we hear over and over again. And let's just put a stop to the medical tourism. And yeah, we'll see a whole lot of difference. I just feel that the government needs to show its willingness to do the best it can for this sector.
Yeah, so, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the Vanguard has a report that, we had a panic yesterday and that people are afraid that there'll be petroleum shortages. The article says that they went around filling stations, especially independent marketers, and most of them did not have products. There were long queues in the ones that had products, and they're starting to sell petrol between 200 naira to 250 naira per litre, depending on wherever you are across the country. And the National Operations Controller, Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, IPMAN, Mr. Mike Osatui, says that this is due to unsteady supply in the product in the past few days, that they've not been able to get, products across. In Abuja, they are not getting, and this is due to the flooding in Kogi State, and now tankers are having difficulty crossing the Baje Age Highway in Niger State as well to cross with products across to Abuja. So there are areas that are suffering due to the flood, but the one in Lagos is due to unsteady supply of products. I'm hoping that they quickly step in before we start to have another hardship forced on the people.
Yeah, so we know that foreign airlines have complained that they have trapped funds because of the forex issue we've been having, no access to the dollar, and they said they've gotten about over $700 million trapped in Nigeria, which is, affecting their businesses, which also led them to change some of their modalities. But the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, has said that they've tried as much as possible to pay out some funds to them. Because first of all, the International Air Transport Association representative, Mr. Fatokun, said no effort had been made to reduce the backlog, and that only $265 million has been earmarked for the disbursement to the foreign airlines. But Emefiele said that no, we've been having conversations with you guys. We've tried as much as possible to pay something, and he went on to reel out how much they had paid so far. So he said we did 110 million in spot, and the rest 60 days forward. On that day, we allocated to IATA $32 million through UBA. Qatar Airways got 22.8 million through Standard Chartered. Emirates got 19.6 million through Access Bank. British Airways got $5.5 million through GTB. Virgin Atlantic got 4.8 million through Zenith, and so on. And they're still making efforts to see how they can pay back some of the money. He said he doesn't print the dollar. He has been accused that he's always printing naira. He can't even print dollar. So the only way they can get dollar is either they borrow or, there's transaction in business, and then he's able to pay. And he's appealing to them to understand that recession is all around the world. You must give us a form of understanding to see the struggle we are going through here, and also ensure that you give the Nigerian Air a landing permit so that it relieves you of the burden of having to do the transportation back and forth. We're just trying to see how we can still satisfy them and they satisfy us. All about reciprocity.
Nice. So I was going to talk about Rishi Sunak. He's the new Prime Minister, United Kingdom, the first Hindu.
Was born
He's also in Tribune. He's
We
my
haven't-
age
You have
mate.
not read
We have not.
We've
You've
not
not
read-
read-
Oh,
not
sorry.
got to
Not
it.
read.
She's excited about.
So, after
that.
being nominated by his Conservative Party MPs, he'll be meeting with King Charles today. And then he was announced yesterday. He was born 1980. Our age mate.
Our age mate.
In Southampton, and is the eldest of three children. He's married to a very wealthy lady. She's the daughter of Narayana Murthy. I think that's the founder of Infosys, which is one of the biggest companies, a businessman in India. And he's quite wealthy.
So an Indian is
So an Indian, and his parents are
Nigeria, where are we?
also Indians
they will
from...
start.
They even start that conversation.
So he said when they told him that, when they announced to him, he was really privileged. He said that he's dedicated to public service, and that being elected prime minister is the greatest privilege of his life. The UK is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge, just like you just said, it's across the world. Everybody's facing one
recession
economic challenge or the
everywhere.
other. So he has a lot of work. His work cut out for him.
Out.
Okay, moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune. Flood give me prevention plans in 90 days. Buhari directs ministers. Father breaks 8-year-old son's hand for disturbing his sleep. That was a painful story. Government kidnapped driver, 10 passengers in Benue. Smugglers kill customs officer, injure 3 others in Kwara. Over 10,000 Nigerian trained doctors now practicing in UK, says NMA. FG to incorporate Utah's peculiarities into IPPIs within 3 months, says Accountant General, which is great news. Nigeria will break if APC wins. And why I won't campaign for Atiku, says Wike. Okay, which story are we taking?
Flood quickly.
take
So
it.
the president quickly has directed the Minister for Water Resources,
Yeah.
the Minister for Environment and that of Transportation to quickly give him a plan that he must work with over this issue of flood within 90 days. And I'm wondering why now.
After that, I mean,
So that's the story.
I'm thinking like,
And he spoke through his Garuba show. spokesperson
all right.
as well.
after the fact.
Can we
We
move
get it.
He hasn't been reading papers for the past.
Yeah, just go with you.
Just
Let me
read your
read
story,
this,
Biko.
So the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists and the National Human Rights Commission are asking for the arrest and prosecution of a 31-year-old father in Owerri. Some time ago, he had beat his 8... I need to check this date again. It's 8 weeks. 8 weeks, not months. 8-week-old
months old.
child. And he flogged the child with plastic hanger because the child was crying and disturbing his sleep. The mother said she left him to go and eat herself, and then she heard the baby crying, you know, and she ran back and found that he had beat the child to the point that he broke the arm of this child.
Pictures
He
are
said
very-
he now locked them up so that she could not ask for help. He locked them in the house after he realized what he had done. Anyway, she finally was able to rush him to the hospital. Then many hospitals even rejected the baby until she went to the FMC in Owerri, and they had to amputate that poor baby's hand because the father thought that his cry was disturbing his sleep. Anyway, they say the man is on the run, but we hope he will be found and arrested and prosecuted.
I saw the pictures online.
Look at
Beautiful
that.
baby.
How are you a
baby.
father?
That's a madman, no.
Yes.
Okay, we have to run. That's all we can take on front page review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. On this segment, we'll be discussing one of the most important issues today, flood.
The governor is watching.
Flooding that has been ravaging many states in Nigeria. In fact, it seems to be the worst happened in many years. Now, many lives have been lost, properties worth millions of naira destroyed. Millions of Nigerians have also been displaced internally. Joining us on the show now is a renowned civil engineer who is also the special advisor, or the permanent secretary, actually, the Ministry of Environment, Mr. Nuruddin Olalekan Welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning, thank you.
So we've been monitoring the floods across the country, and we're going to be talking to NEMA and other people within the federal government. But you are in Lagos, and we just recently got another alert, a warning, saying that we should be expecting flood in the Victoria, Ikoyi, Lekki area. I saw that yesterday in the papers. And also, we saw recently that Kara Bridge has been flooded. Kara area where they sell the animal cows, been flooded, and we're expecting more floods. That's what they told us. Now we brought you here to come and give us clarity. When are the floods coming? Are they here? And what should we do?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Let me first interpret that alert.
Okay.
We're not saying expect. We're saying be prepared.
Okay.
What's the difference?
There's a difference. Now, projections, because we can't control nature, when it will happen. But we can't predetermine the volume. We only project it.
Okay.
Now, from the data we have, compared to previous years, we're fine.
Okay.
You might see water at Kara is an annual event. Kara gets flooded in October, but we never climbed the bridge. But there was a year, 10, 12 years ago, that the water climbed that decompiled. That was a one-off. But Kara area is a floodplain. Water being there is natural, but it is its natural habitat.
Okay.
We are the ones that went to invade its
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
and we didn't provide for that invasion. So, but from our own data, from our gauges, and from volume, I mean the data we have from the Ogun Based Development Authority, in terms of the water passing through the dam, we're fine. Our gauge said that, well, we're still below the flood alert level. But we know that nature surprises, climate change is not predeterminable. We're saying, in case you see anything, be on the lookout. In case, because life is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We're not saying there's going to be flooding, but in case that indicator comes, we don't want to be found over-relaxed.
Okay.
That's why we're just being alert. We're just being prepared.
All right.
That's what we're doing.
So for me, it would be, what are the indicators I, as a resident just moving around, would see and would make me take caution? And two, what am I supposed to do so I'm not caught up? If there's a flood, what we found out, a lot of people caught up in floods in their homes. What am I supposed to do before it finally hits? Where am I supposed to go? Where am I supposed to carry my load?
Thank you. Well, number one, government cannot provide accommodation for everybody that could be affected. That's why we're giving this early warning that make enough arrangements for alternative accommodation in case it happens.
Yeah.
It will not likely happen.
Yeah, but
I am near certain about that. But as an engineer, you give them for probabilities.
Yeah.
But from data at our disposal, it might not happen. As I'm talking to you now, the dam has reduced the volume of flow coming out of it.
Okay.
They're holding back a lot of the water
Okay.
the dam is receiving. Every day, the volume discharge is reducing.
Okay.
Now, my stages in the lagoon are going down as well, showing that, yes, like over the time, October has been the peak, and the peak is going down into early November.
Okay.
But if it happens, I mean, God can surprise us.
Hey.
So, and that thing happens. We're saying that we're not caught unawares, and we're saying make alternative arrangements. But in case of an emergency, government is prepared for emergencies. No, that's the issue of LASEMA and NEMA and all the other agencies for emergency. I know that Lagos has some accommodation that are there that have been using over the time, but they cannot take everybody that will be affected. So we've made some minimal arrangements for all this.
So how prepared was government concerning this Okoba area? Because I know that every year, Okoba is Agege, and that's Lagos State. Before I hear Zuguna, it's Lagos State, I need to be sure. Every year, that flood happens. I think a few years ago, we saw buildings, swallowed up, submerged, cars and everything. And this year again, so now that you're saying be prepared, how prepared was government and how prepared were the indigents who already know that that area is prone to flood every year?
Thank you. Lagos had been prepared for more than 40 years now, because for the first master plan Lagos had for drainage was only 1974. Okay. That identified about six systems in Lagos. These are natural channels that are existing. But Lagos is a coastal state. Most of the land is a drainage basin, right? But in the studies we did, in case you want to develop, leave this area for a major channel. In 1980, Lagos Island, our power master plan was done. So we've progressively elaborated. As Lagos expanded towards Agege Ikeja, we did the work in 1996, I think, or 95, we went down for Greater Lagos. But in 2015, we now harmonized everything into a major Lagos State master plan for drainage. We have 169 primary channels, the big canals, where people are already living. So our preparedness is that we make sure these canals are free-flowing.
Okay.
We clean them, we make them functional because it's a conveyor system. From the gutters in front of your houses to a collector into a perimeter before it gets to the lagoon. So Okwaba particularly was constructed, I think, in 2008. That's where the first was concrete line. It could be earth channel, but because people have built close to it, we had to improve the capacity, improve the functionality by lining it. But 12 years down the line, 4 years down the line, people have built more areas. So presently we have a contract ongoing to expand it. We did the stakeholders.
Have to demolish buildings for that?
Yeah, we did. We had the stakeholders, the local government chairman, everybody, they were all there. They agreed. We've done demolition. So we just said about a couple of months ago. It's going to take us 2 years to finish that. So the canal now be a bit bigger to take a lot more volume. But that is not the issue here right now.
Okay.
Natural drainageability as created is that the ground is the big drainage. It should soak up a lot of it.
Water. Yeah.
But you and I, in our houses, have done what? Paved everything. We sealed it. So 50% of that runoff that should go into the ground is now flowing on the surface. The foliage, where are they? The trees, the grasses, all gone. That's when that storage capacity that has been taken out. So we're having now 100% of rainfall on the street, in the environment. No engineer can solve that. So what we do as being proactive is to ensure that, well, what we have is free. You'll have stagnation. We always say that 2-3 hours, it will go. As bad as Okwaba was, within 2 hours, it disappeared. So that's the preparation that Lagos State is doing. And we beat our chest that we will always be prepared. Because we know it's going to happen. And we're not just caught unaware.
As you were talking now, you talked about, us flooring all our houses, we don't plant trees. Add the one that happens behind the canal around last where I'm going in the morning, I'm holding one nylon. So I near the canal, throw it in. I clog it. And then I scream when it's flooded, government. Let's talk about how much, our activities are affecting your work and how we need to better change our lifestyle, our ways of doing things.
Sustainability. Well, there's an international acronym, SWORDS, Sustainable Drainage Systems. That's the best practice in stormwater management.
Yeah.
What you mentioned is just a habitual thing, which we believe that awareness will be able to solve. We keep talking about, I'm happy you raised
enforcement.
it too. Enforcement, when you have over 20 million people in Lagos and you have to now enforce everything, it's a bit challenging. Moral suasion and a personal conviction to change. If we all know that there's a problem, why do we want to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result when we're not a class of people that we don't want to be? So I believe that you don't have to come to you with cane and punishment. If we're the ones feeling the pain.
Yeah, I understand. I understand where you're coming from, but I think we will be. We know that a lot of people do not understand the way it works.
They don't.
And everybody thinks that this flood happens somewhere away from us. And many people do not see the direct impact that their lifestyle has on, how the flood emerges. And so I feel that it's important that apart from constantly keeping people aware, enlightening them, and we need to also find ways to punish people. We have to. So what are those measures that have been put in place to deter people from, going ahead and...
I'll let you answer that after this break.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing floods in Lagos. Let me come to you, sir, because many... Okay, I'm so sorry. Absolutely.
Okay, now, well, it's not as if we're not enforcing this negative environmental practice of dumping refuse on the street. Loma and the ministry we have this effort at having people monitoring and apprehending such people. Yes, information is key. We need people to inform us. Even send us pictures of when the thing is done. You don't have to arrest the person. Just take the picture and send it to us. We'll find the person and we'll arrest the person, take the person to court, and they'll be charged and dealt with accordingly. They'll be able to be made to do community service, pay a fine that is even a lot more than what you have done. So we're really enforcing. But we need to maybe ramp it up because of the intensity and, of what is being done. But yeah, enforcement is out there.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say, many countries around the world, they have one kind of natural disaster they're dealing with. Their countries dealing with hurricanes, to all sorts. And they somewhat know how to handle it because they're used to it. They know, the people are aware that this hurricane is coming and they board up and do stuff. Can we begin some kind of a campaign where the local governments will be engaged to begin to talk to the communities? Because, yes, as you said, it's a coastal area. Flooding is likely to happen whether we like it or not. It should become a norm within Lagos State where we know, okay, when during this month of XYZ, ABC month, this is what we need to do, and give us modalities on what to do. Move to your friend's house, buy up food, do this to remove the electricity, something. There's got to be a document that you pass around, or a flyer that people are seeing and know that, okay, when floods are coming, this is our modus operandi. That is normal.
You've just, in a nutshell,
Given a solution.
explained what we've been doing. The flood alert is to make you prepared that it might come.
But they don't know
How
what to do.
alert is this flood alert? How
They don't
are you
know.
alerting?
They say they're doing alert, but they don't know what. Yes,
That's
And look,
all.
but they don't know what to do.
You see, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Survival is a natural thing.
Yeah.
So until they see the water,
is a natural
they
thing.
won't do anything.
That's what I'm saying. Not until you see the water. Government had come out to say this could happen. If it doesn't happen, whatever you have prepared won't go to waste. You consume the resources. But please make the preparation. Like you said, abroad, they will board up, make alternative arrangement. They start moving. They relocate, stay in one stadium for the time the event will pass, and they come back, or they go to a bunker. This is.
Have you
So
prepared the stadium for
where
us?
we're going to
Have you
stay?
gone to Teslim? I don't go to the stadium. Say, okay, you are ready for you, just in case. So open it for us.
So I think
So we, like I said, Lasema has arrangement for emergency response.
Okay.
But we
So
don't know.
my job is just to give the alert
Okay.
that this is possible.
Okay.
So Boy Scout is just the thing here, be prepared.
Okay.
That's government's job.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let me take this call. I'll come to you guys. Joy from Lekki. Good morning, Joy. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, for these, he's talking about the flood alert. I don't think enough is being done. Now, this natural whatever that we know is going to happen. But what is being done? Are they doing enough community engagement? Which I don't see them doing. We can rely on TV. But please, a country like Nigeria, enough people don't even own TV sets. I used to work in a radio station, and I know for one that we don't get enough of this from the government. So to me, the government is not doing enough. They need to do a lot of community engagement. Do they go to the market to tell people? Do they go to landlord association to tell people, And what are they even promising these people? You want to remove them from where they are living, but are you promising them anything? No, these are natural strategies, but what are you doing? What are you doing to these people? What are you doing to help them? And more people don't even know what to do. And people don't even know about it. How many people on TV sets? So I think.
Thank you, Joy. So that's the thing. You say you're doing a lot, but Nigerians don't see it. So there's got to be another way we do it to let them know that, listen, this is what government is doing. How can we do that?
Everybody might not know what we're doing because you don't live in such areas. Lagos has an office called the Resilience Office. Lagos Resilience Office. They bring together all agencies that has to do with some form of emergency or the other. Okay. Resilience is that you don't have a negative impact on your sustainable existence. Now, we go to these communities. We engage them. Because sustainability is that when government does something, people own it. We're not coming to top bottom tell you what we need you to do. We need to talk to you that we're going to do this thing. It's going to affect you in this way. It goes beyond just providing the infrastructure that you are in a low-lying area where we talking you to do this. So we won't come publicly to tell somebody in Agege, what if anybody in Agboyi. We'll go to Agboyi and talk to those in Agboyi directly. We'll go to Alagbole, talk to them in Alagbole directly. So it might not be, it can be assumed that we're going to do, but we are talking to individual, catchments directly and particularly.
So would you
That's
say
the job
it's the
of
stubbornness of Nigerians that keep them there even after they know that they're supposed to move?
Well, I don't think it's a peculiar thing here. When you say people should relocate, we found out people internationally will, when there is even bushfire burning, they will tell them to relocate. They'll still go down, they'll still be caught on their way. So it's a human thing. I won't say it's a Nigerian thing. It's a human thing that when you see the disaster, you think you're immune. But we will keep creating the awareness. That's why you always have an emergency response when it is required. Government will keep talking to you, engaging you, educating you. Yes, I've taken away something from here today, flyers. Even if you're not concerned, maybe you have a sister or a brother or a relative in that place. I saw this thing, it affects you. What are you thinking about? Somebody, maybe if it's coming from government, if it's coming from a fellow citizen, you will listen. So, I mean, we need to look at other alternatives of reaching out to the people, and we're really learning. That's why we're engaging.
I'll take your question after the break. We have to go from that break. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing flooding. Yes, Nima had a question for the break. Go ahead.
Yes, so I was thinking, because I saw the video from the Okoba flooding. There was a particular story building just by
Beside the canal.
And he was halfway gone. And I was wondering, did whoever approved that building, and even if it's already approved, can it not be taken out? Because that person is at a risk of losing lives.
Yeah.
It just might, and the building is still there, it had occupants. Can they do something? Can you demolish
Now,
a building
go back
on
to
the
the
channel?
video. When you look at that building, you'll see two walls. These are those two walls. Those are the ring walls of a culvert. Even those walls are higher than the man's deck. You see, there is an infrastructure program by government that is a DATO that should have determined the level of his own development. But he has now gone below that DATO.
Maybe he built a long time ago.
Well, possibly. And he didn't take the necessary approval. So I can tell you for free that building has no approval. Nobody will approve in a wetland.
So let me pause you for a second, because that's one of the issues we have. There are buildings in this state
That are not
that are
approved.
up without approval.
Exactly.
Do we have a number, or is it until something, a disaster happens, that we know where they are? How do we find these unapproved buildings?
And how do you
Now,
work?
well, I used to be in LAPCA, no doubt about it, and I can tell you for free that most houses don't have approvals because people build before they think of governance. They will tell you it's a survival instinct, but it's not right. When you build and it's not sustainable, you're going to lose your investment. Like she said, that building is going to go down. Because rather than you embarrassing and putting people's lives at risk, let's take down the money. But no money is worth anybody's life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I see such illegality, it comes down.
That's a failure of local government, because when that building was going up, somebody within the local government, that's the closest people to the government. The governor would never know that, but it's the person who is closest to the people that would monitor. Mr. Somebody is building house here. Do you have approval? But that was the job of the local government.
I recall when I was in LAPCA too, we had what we call this whistleblower thing. Local government, yes, but we need the people, like it happens all over the world. Even if you're doing something, those Yachali people, they will just call the police. Something is happening here, I don't know, either right or wrongly, but there's something new that's happening. You inform the authority. Let us come and find out what is happening. But really and truly, we need information for us to really act. Because we don't have the eye to see everywhere, but people are all over the place. If you see anything new, rightly or wrongly, you are not sure, just ask government. I'm seeing this thing developing. Please, what is the state of what? Whatever is happening around you is going to affect you.
They'll say it's
Positive.
Beboru. You are doing Beboru.
People for survival, I don't is a negative thing.
But you yourself might not even know that the land is not approved.
My sister,
You may not
and
know.
there was one place I know that we went to go and report something in an area. I think I'll give you guys that story before. The chief reporter, the woman that was chief reporter, something happened, she now died. Everybody that they were quick, keep quiet. They will ask, we just keep quiet. So that's Nigeria for you.
Yeah.
But you
But
know,
let me ask, what is government's, at least Lagos State government's response to those people who have been, flooded?
Displaced.
And is there any palliative program ongoing that would just help alleviate their suffering?
Well, in Lagos right now, I don't think we have any flooding situation right now. Because what we have is flash flooding.
Okay. Like the Okoba is
Okoba
flash.
is always flash flood. I mean, Third Mainland Bridge used to flood for like 2-3 years. So we are always trying to resolve issues. By the time we finish the Okoba Canal, the issue will be sorted and put to rest. So right now, we are ready for the emergencies. Yes, I can tell you that. While we're equally proactively providing for it not to fester.
Right. Let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan, we're holding. Good morning, Hassan. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, please, I wish to use this to commend the country government for building drainages all over the place. That's number one. Number two is there's a need for Lagos State government to do more. Look, in terms of building approvals, I can see the Lagos State government failing in that aspect. Maybe it's due to the corruption, or people are not willing to do their jobs. What you see all over the place, people build before approvals in Lagos. After building, they will go and seek for approval, and it will be given to them. The name of that process is corruption. And why people are doing that is because people in physical planning are ever ready to compromise via corruption. So this issue of corruption is there. And there should be much more human resource on the part of Lagos State government to enforce it. You pay 3 layers in Lagos State. You pay state, you pay physical planning, you pay local government. All of them are failing this aspect. Good morning.
Thank you, Hassan.
I wanted to take tweets.
Okay.
Gabriel Akinyomi says that the current drainage system in Lagos is not sustainable because it is, he said, it's open drainage, and that's where people, you can't prevent people clogging the drainages. What do you have to say? And
Okay, let me give you a scenario. People don't have to go and drop the garbage in the drain.
Yeah.
All you have just put it outside.
Yeah. It will
Once rain flows, and once rain comes, it carries it and dumps it in the drain. Now, let's assume the drains are covered, but there are still inlets into the drain, right? Those things will find their way into that conduit, finally, and clog it. So it is a lot harder
yes,
to clean a closed conduit drain. That's the challenge. So if we can do a magic abracadabra and stop solid waste coming to the environment, I will gladly close all my drain, because a drain is designed to have self-cleansing capacity for silt and sand. And when there's rain, just sand and silt, the drain will cleanse itself. There will be no blockage. But when you now have all kinds of heavier material,
We need to change our ways first.
Exactly.
Once
So
we change that,
I can close the drain if I don't have solid waste in the environment. It will be easy.
so there's another one. Detu Mininu says most of the canals are abandoned projects. The Ahmadiyya Ijayi is one of them. The government representative is not doing enough at all.
That's not true. That person about the Obadiah project. Obadiah goes,
Okay.
Obadiah. It's a new project, an ongoing construction that we're doing. I think we started early this year, and we're still working. The contractor has going to maybe like 70%, and we're paying the next tranche for him to continue. It's downstream. Okay, this really happened on our Abeokuta Express Road sometime during the year.
Yes,
that is the rest, because the Federal Ministry of Works are doing that Abeokuta Express Road.
Yes.
They've done the cover. We are now doing the downstream to take the water away. So we have not abandoned it. It's still
It's a
very
work in
much alive.
progress.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I mean, from a conversation, it seems like government is doing, has got it
top of
covered.
it.
It's on top of it, but as we say, there's still a lot more to be done. But because of what's happening across Nigeria, Kogi State, Bayelsa, Anambra, and for many of us in Lagos, we're thinking, are we going to be one day on canoes doing video and saying, look at us, so see where we are? So to not get to that point, what do you think we can do differently going forward? Because every time we have this conversation with you, I'd like to know what we have learned from the previous year that we're doing differently this year that will prevent what we had, suffered. And then, especially with what's going on across Nigeria, what are we doing specifically in Lagos to make sure it's not a Bayelsa situation and an Anambra State situation?
Well, in Lagos, we know that we're a coastal state, and we've been prepared. That's why, like I said, since early 70s, we've been having several master plans to dimension what Lagos looks like and what we need to provide it. I'll give an example. Right now, we're doing an understudy. This is now for even 100 years master plan. This is for climate change. Because climate change, we don't know what could happen. But we know that for now that there is one key indices given to us that in another 100 years, the ocean would have risen 3 meters. If that happens...
You said Lagos will be underwater.
So most part of it will be underwater. So we're not doing a study. Okay, if this happens, what ought we be doing to prevent that happening? So we're being futuristic. It's not happening right now, but we know it could happen. So we're already spending the money for that time. Our children will be the ones to execute by a plan. That's what Lagos lives on. We spend so much money on plans, futuristic plans. So something governments now come to implement. So 74 master plan was done. We've done the 2015 master plan. We're doing second collectors master plan because rain will happen. The land is fixed. Our condition is fixed, but we can play with it. That balance must just be maintained. So I can assure you that with the level of interaction, we're not just local. We talk to the federal government agencies, NIMET, NISA. When they do their prediction, we do a downscaling in Lagos. So come and tell us how it affects Lagos. We're not just listening to you at the federal level. Come and tell Lagos how it affects us. After the rain, we're going to do a review. Okay, you projected this. This is what has happened. What is the correlation? So these are things we do. Anytime they decide from the dam, we get the data. So we're really not working from the rule of the thumb. Right. We're actually data-based. So plans are there to really make us
I think that's all we can take on this. Thank you very much for coming. I just hope that you would help us and get the local government involved because they are the closest to the people, and we should be hearing this drum from them. All our we have mayors here, we have the chairman local local government. These are the people that should be going on every day, house to house. Guys, what are you doing? K2 is going to be flooded. What are the markets clean? That's what we need to see. That when we see that, then we know you're working. But if we don't see the people close to us doing that, we feel that government is not doing anything. Yeah. That's what that lady said. They're not doing it. But there's so much government is doing. But because the local government has been somewhat ineffective, we've not been seeing it. But we hope things can be done differently going forward. That is all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we bring in our next guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Staying with us. So aside from my husband's birthday, today is also World Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Day, October 25th. Globally, it's celebrated. The day is used to raise awareness and understanding of Spina Bifida and the Hydrocephalus condition, as well as to promote rights of persons with these two conditions. Joining us to explain this better is the consultant neurosurgeon and head of neurosurgery unit, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, also a lecturer, College of Medicine, University of Lagos, Professor Femi Bankole. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you, sir.
It's good to be here.
Prof, we like professors because, we feel like we're going to learn so much from you. So tell us about this. Is it a condition? Is it a disease? What exactly is it?
Well, there are actually two conditions or two diseases. Hydrocephalus is separate from spina bifida. Okay. The reason why they are joined together is because they sometimes occur together. So spina bifida on its own is what we call a congenital malformation in which children are born with this condition. It occurs when there is a defect in the closure of the spinal cord. So usually very early in pregnancy before many women even know that they are pregnant. So we'll talk about prevention a bit later. So that happens and the children are born, the back is not closed, sort of. So there's usually a swelling or a wound. That's what the layperson would see, either a wound or a swelling at the back. And then those children, when they are born like that, it affects the nerves and the body functions below the level for which the condition occurs. So it can occur anywhere on the back, really, mostly in the lower back, what we call the lumbar region or the lumbosacral region. So those are the most common areas. And the children may be born with weakness, paralysis, they may be paraplegic. They may also have deformities of their foot and also difficulties controlling their bowel and bladder. So it's a serious condition, really. And sometimes many of these children also have an associated condition called hydrocephalus. So hydrocephalus on its own can occur either congenitally or acquired, that means after birth, and occurs when there is excessive fluid, what we call brain fluid, cerebrospinal fluid, accumulates within the brain, and then that causes the head to get larger and continues to get larger because the body continues to produce cerebrospinal fluid every day. And it has a system normally where you produce and you excrete it or you get it out of the system. But when that is affected, and the fluid begins to build up almost like a dam, and then it affects the function of the brain.
Wow. So what are the causes? Is there any cause to these two diseases you just mentioned?
Well, let's take spina bifida for a moment. So spina bifida is, like we said, congenital. There is no known actual cause. There are some situations in which they've been found to predispose to it. That means be more likely to happen. And the most important and the most recurring factor is what we call nutrition. So, nutrition, or better still, folic acid deficiency in women who are pregnant, and well, even before pregnancy, is actually the most common thing that we try and we found to be most consistent. So if you're going to ask for a cause, we'll say maternal nutrition. But folic acid is something that's what we call a micronutrient. So it's something that most people do not, it's not like beans or it's not carbohydrate, so it's a vitamin. So the way to do that or to prevent that happening is to regularly make sure you're taking either supplements or folic acid rich things like
I remember my first pregnancy, and it was quite tough. I was constantly not sure. Yes, so I would not take some of the supplements. And my mom kept saying, like, if you don't take this one, your children will come out ugly. That's important for their bones. So I learned that quickly. But you said there are preventive measures. I mean, are these measures preventive before a woman starts to have babies, or is it once she's pregnant and then she has to take those supplements?
Yes. So for spina bifida, it's before pregnancy. So I mean, ideally, unfortunately, naturally, most pregnancies are unplanned. I mean, people don't know I'm going to get pregnant on this date. So, but we know that about 6 weeks before and 6 weeks after, the folic acid levels at that level are very important to prevent this particular condition. So the folic acid that pregnant women are given, which we are very good at doing, is not to prevent spina bifida. That one is for anemia in pregnancy and other things. But the one that prevents spina bifida is the one that is taken before pregnancy, what we call periconceptual. And the only way that happens is if you are either fortifying staple meals like wheat in other parts of the world, bread, wheat, rice are fortified with folic acid, just so that there is a general high level of folic acid in the system. Or if people take, well, when I say people, women who are getting pregnant or who think they will get pregnant, take folic acid, just a tablet a day, or even half a tablet a day.
So once you get married like this, start taking it.
Even before you're married.
It won't be a bad idea.
Even before marriage, like young girls, in their 20s, it's okay. Does it have a negative effect?
No, it's a water-soluble vitamin, so you can't take half too much. If it's too much in the body just gets rid of it. So, so what we actually, between the ages of 18 and, 60, let's say 60, just folic acid every day.
This condition you talked about for children, how is it curable? Is there hope? Or if it has to be managed, how long does it have to be?
So again, spina bifida is treatable but not curable because it's a congenital condition. The treatments are to help to reduce the impact of this condition on the child. And so usually when these children are diagnosed and born, then the first order of this day is to try and repair that defect or that wound at the back and close it up to prevent infection. So when that is done, then whatever else is left, so if the children have clubfoot, which they may have, then that is addressed by serial manipulation. If they have problems with their control of blood and urine, then those ones are addressed a little later on with therapies that are help them to control whatever kind of incontinence or bowel or bladder habits they have. When it comes to hydrocephalus, I will talk a little about hydrocephalus because, like I said, it's a different condition. Hydrocephalus can either be congenital or acquired, Many of the ones that are acquired are from infections. So children have meningitis, if it's not well treated, can go on to develop hydrocephalus. Now, there are treatments for hydrocephalus. Very simple treatments, very effective treatments for hydrocephalus. The problem many times is that most people come in late when there's been significant damage to the brain. But when the hydrocephalus is found early and treated early, then the outcomes are usually quite good.
So what should a mother look out for, you know, because these congenital cases obviously affects their physical form, so the child might not be able to walk or something, but for the ones that can still be fixed, what should a mother or father look out for to be able to come to the hospital to get the right diagnosis? Because Nigeria diagnosed either malaria or typhoid.
Really?
Yes. Well, so for spina bifida, typically every newborn, you check their back to see if there's any swelling or wound. If there is, then that child needs to be taken to a specialist, a pediatrician or some other hospital where there are specialists where they would know what to do and then decide. For hydrocephalus, it's fairly simple. Usually the head size of the child will be growing faster and more rapidly than it should, and any other part of the body, than the face and things like that. And many times, even I think just yesterday, somebody was saying, oh, they felt that, oh, in their family they have big heads. But they are big heads and they are big heads. So you just have to understand that if the rapidity of growth is too much, or if the child is no longer able to do, like, hold the neck or smile, when they should smile, then it means something is going on wrong, because the children are too small to complain.
So let me ask you this question. So go ahead, Mariam.
Yeah, so that means the postnatal visits are important.
Definitely.
Because we know they measure the head, they measure all those things.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I just want to know how accessible this sort of care is to our rural communities. You know, most of our problems is usually access to health. Is it expensive? Is it something you can get at your primary health care center?
The treatments and the care, no. But the diagnosis, definitely. Okay. So if the diagnosis is made, then such care is usually referred to tertiary hospitals because these are really small children. Even the process of putting them to sleep and waking them up is complicated at best. You know, so they can't, it's not something that we would do at a primary health center or a general hospital. Usually where you have neurosurgeons or people trained to put children to sleep and wake them up safely. So there is some problem with access, but once the diagnosis is made, they just need to move them to the nearest hospital.
Congenital diseases in this country is difficult to manage. Once there's some kind of a deformity, and people find it difficult because people rather just carry their children out of the country, find somewhere there where they will have some kind of treatment. Could you help us understand, especially in the Lagos State teaching hospitals, do we have ways of caring for these kind of situations?
Well, yes, definitely. I mean, the short answer is yes. If you're talking about hydrocephalus and spina bifida, I am not aware of any treatment that is available anywhere in the world that is not available in Lagos State, at least as far as that is concerned. The problem may be with the stigma and things like that, but apart from that, the treatments are available. People just need to access them.
So is there any age a child gets to that the child may not be able to have all this? Is there like an age where you've outgrown having this sort of
condition?
Yeah, condition.
Well, I mean, spina bifida is, if the child is not born with it, the child is not born with it. So that's sort of sorted. Hydrocephalus, well, the real news, whether it's good or bad, is that it can occur in adults as well. So it's not, there's no age limit to developing hydrocephalus. The only
You said adults.
Oh, yeah.
The only difference is that with adults, the head doesn't get big, which is both good and bad, because it then means that there's a shorter time, because the enlarging head is actually the body's way of accommodating and coping with that stress. So with the adult, the head doesn't get big. And
so how do you now know that
Yes,
something like that?
What do you know?
Really bad headaches, and that the person may begin to lose function on their brain very quickly.
Let's talk about foundations that are helping out. Do you partner any of such foundations?
Yes, we do. We do partner with anybody that wants to partner with us, but there are not many foundations that are specifically devoted towards hydrocephalus and spina bifida. At least within the country, I'm aware mainly of one, and I think there's another one, the Professor Femi Foundation, that I'm also a part of them. They've been around for over 10, 15 years now, trying to raise awareness and funds for these children, because like we said, the care is complicated and goes over time.
It even sounds complicated even from how you're talking. But let me ask you, this is a side question. I know you're a neurosurgeon, correct?
Correct.
Are you practicing?
Yes.
Okay. Just I said it was a deliberate question because the reason why I asked that because many of our doctors are leaving Nigeria. And I just wanted to be sure that
but they're still practicing. They're just not
I wanted to
practicing
be
in
sure.
Nigeria.
My whole question is that
Are you practicing in Nigeria?
are you practicing Nigeria? I hope you're not leaving anytime soon.
Well, for the first question, am I practicing Nigeria? This is Nigeria. We're
Yes.
here today. I'm
Are you
practicing
here?
in
Never
Nigeria.
NMA just said that all our doctors have left. Are you leaving?
No, enemy did not say all. He just said
Said
that
10,000, over
there's
10,000.
10,000.
How many
you-
currently?
Answer my question. Are you in Nigeria or you are planning to go very soon?
I'm in Nigeria as we speak.
Do you plan to go
As
very
we
soon?
speak.
As we speak.
No,
Well, you're also planning to exit.
No, I don't have any plans to go permanently very soon, if that's what you mean.
That's what we're thinking. Okay. So
So you go and
You're
come
here
back.
for us.
You're here for us.
I'm here. We are here. All of us are here for
Just checking. It's important for us to be checking to make sure that people like you are still here because tomorrow
My
now
sister
Professor Bankole has jumped back.
gone.
Please don't go. Okay, all right.
need you.
We need you.
I wish you would tell other people that.
We do. Try doing that.
Okay, you talked about the foundation you partner. How can people reach in case they have kids that are dealing with this? And how do you select cases? Shall you help people or you have to select?
The foundation or me as a practitioner, I will treat
foundation.
anybody that comes. The
The foundation.
foundation, I think, would help anybody that comes as well, as much as possible. What the extent of the assistance is what may vary. The First Fatimula Foundation has a presence online, so I'm sure anybody can just get information on that. The other foundations, like I said, I mean, in our unit, we do also have a foundation, but it's not specific to Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus, but we try and help children also with that condition.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Is there any other questions? I think we're good. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about this condition that we've not touched on?
Yes, because I've heard some. Thank you for saying. I've heard that with the spinal bifida, they can do like a surgery in utero. Is that possible?
Okay. Yes, fetal surgery for spina bifida is possible. It's cutting edge. Okay, so we don't have that in Nigeria. Maybe that's what I should say. But having said that, it's not available in many places, in select places. And the window for fetal surgery is very narrow. So it has to have been diagnosed usually about the second trimester. And then there's a very narrow window in which it can be offered. The advantages is that fetal surgery is what they call scarless surgery. It doesn't completely reverse the problems that may be associated, but it is thought to reduce the weakness of the limbs, and it's been found to reduce the need for treatment for hydrocephalus, because a lot of them, like 80%, would need some treatment for the hydrocephalus. So this reduces it to like 50 to 60%.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us on the show. Thank you for learning a few things about these diseases. And I hope that parents will also know how important folic acid is before pregnancies and even during pregnancy.
I think if there's anything to take away, that is really important, taking folic acid.
As important as we take vitamin C. I used to carry this small bottle of 100 pills, and it was affordable.
Yeah. So folic acid is very cheap, very cheap. It comes like 500 tablets. You can take it for 2 years and it will cost so much.
Okay, that's all we can take on today's show. It's a great day. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.
All right, bye-bye.